In dysfunctional families, you don't get to discover who you are. You're assigned a role. Maybe you were the golden child. Maybe you were the problem. Maybe you were the one that made everyone laugh. The one no one ever saw. Whoever you became, it wasn't random. It was strategic, protective, brilliant. And then one day, it stopped working. You got tired, disconnected, anxious, confused, because those roles, they aren't our identities. They are costumes. And healing begins when we take them off. Let's walk through the 6 hidden roles assigned in dysfunctional families and how you can begin to lay them down. Role number 1, the hero. The hero is the golden child, the overachiever, the one who makes the family look functional, even when it's not. They are the straight A student, rule follower, the one who remembers to say thank you, colors inside the lines, loads the dishwasher without being asked. From the outside, they seem really mature, responsible, so easy. But inside, they are exhausted, anxious, always afraid of dropping the ball. Hero learns early on, if I'm perfect, maybe they'll love me. Maybe things will calm down. Maybe no one will get hurt. So they get good at reading the room. They anticipate moods, manage tension, carry the weight. To make up for the chaos no one will name. It's not a role, it's a cage. Because the hero doesn't get to be a child. They don't get to be messy or unsure or break down. They become miniature therapists, emotional bodyguards, surrogate partners. And people praise them for it. You are so mature. You are the rock of this family. You've always had it all together. But no one stops to ask, what did it cost you? According to the book Running on Empty, these individuals often appear successful on the outside, but secretly struggle with burnout, low self-worth, chronic guilt. Why? Because they were never taught how to rest or how to receive care. They were praised for doing, but never supported in being. They're super high achieving, productive, impressive. But underneath, they are scared, lonely, disconnected from their own needs. They don't know who they are without the gold stars. The hero doesn't need more praise. They need permission to rest, to cry, to fall apart, not as failure, but as freedom, because you were never meant to save the family. You were meant to be free. Well, number 2, the scapegoat. The scapegoat is the identified problem, the rebel, the misfit, the one who speaks up, lashes out, acts out, or simply refuses to play along. They are labeled the difficult one. They carry the family's shadow, the buried rage, the repressed truth. The truth? Scapegoats are the problem. They're the ones pointing to the problem. And in families built on denial, that makes them dangerous. They're punished, or pitied, or pushed out. This isn't about blame. It's about emotional outsourcing. Instead of facing their own pain, the family projects it onto the one who dares to be real. Most people don't realize this. Scapegoats are often the most emotionally honest members of the family. Will say the thing no one else will say. They act out because they're in pain. And because of that, they are punished, pathologized. But here's the plot twist. Many scapegoats become the cycle breakers. They go into therapy. They read every book. They parent differently. They get brave enough to tell the truth, even if their voice shakes. You were never the bad one. You were the honest one, the hurting one, the awake one. You don't have to justify your worth. Role number 3, lost child. The lost child is the quiet one. They don't cause trouble. They don't speak up. They don't need much. Or at least, that's what the story the family tells. But what's really happening, the lost child is disappearing in plain sight. While chaos erupts around them, they shrink. They are the ones that slip into books and music, and they daydream anywhere but here. They learn that invisibility is safety. They're not praised like the hero. They're not blamed like the scapegoat. Not entertaining like the mascot. Not needed like the caretaker. They are simply forgotten. And in that forgetting, they absorb a painful lesson. I only matter when I am not a burden. So they make themselves small, quiet, compliant. They never rock the boat, but they are sinking inside of it. They struggle to answer even the simplest questions. What do I want? What do I need? What makes me feel alive? They stay in the background at work, in relationships, in friend groups, hoping no one notices them too much or needs too much from them, because connection feels unfamiliar. Here's the truth. Just because you were overlooked doesn't mean you aren't needed. Just because you were quiet doesn't mean you didn't have something to say. Just because no one asked doesn't mean your truth doesn't matter. Healing begins with one brave question. What do I want? Not what's expected, not what's safe, not what keeps the peace, but what actually lights me up. It begins when you let yourself be seen. You are allowed to take up space, to want things, to be witnessed. You are not too quiet. You are not too late. You are not invisible. You are just waiting for someone to look your way and say, I see you. 4, the mascot. The mascot is the comic relief, the mood lifter, the clown, the one who keeps everyone laughing so that no one falls apart. They tell stories, they do impressions, they fill the awkward silences, they keep that energy up, they keep it light, and they keep it moving. They're the fun one, the entertainer, the life of the party. But behind that grin is grief. Because the mascot learns early, if I keep them laughing, maybe they won't fall apart. If I entertain, maybe I won't be ignored. If I'm funny, maybe I'll be safe. Humor becomes a shield. Sarcasm becomes a reflex. Performance becomes their protection. It's brilliant. It's adaptive. Sometimes it even saves the room. It never saves them. Because when you're always the one who makes others feel better, who makes you feel safe? They know how everyone else feels, but rarely know how they feel. That's the mascot's burden. They're emotionally attuned to the room, but we are disconnected from ourselves. They struggle to name their feelings without making a joke about it. And when they're not performing, feel flat, even ashamed. Who am I if I'm not entertaining? Who will stay if I stop being funny? Do people even like me, or just the version that makes them laugh? Healing begins when the mascot stops performing and starts feeling. When they sit in silence without filling it. When they admit for the first time, I'm scared too. Because real joy doesn't come from performance. It comes from presence, or more than your charm, more than your timing, more than your perfectly timed punchline. You deserve to be seen even when you are not smiling. Well, number 5, the caretaker. Caretaker is the fixer, the helper, the feeler, the emotional medic. They're the first to sense when someone's upset and the first to try to soothe it. They take responsibility for everyone else's needs, everyone else's moods, and everyone else's mess, because that's what they've always done. The caretaker often becomes the emotional parent to the actual parent. They're the ones that cover for the alcoholic, consoling the narcissist. They run interference for the screaming matches. They clean up broken glass without anyone asking. And no one ever does ask, because the caretaker doesn't complain. They don't make waves. They anticipate problems before they even happen. They give quietly, steadily, desperately, and they rarely expect care in return, because they've been taught that love is something that you give, not something that you receive. That's what makes this role so heavy. It's a performance of strength with no intermission. Did you know children who grow up in homes where emotional caretaking is expected often develop what's called pathological accommodation, a chronic pattern of self-abandonment to preserve connection. In adulthood, caretakers often attract emotionally unavailable or chaotic partners, choose helping professions, and then burn out, feel deeply resentful, but say nothing, confuse boundaries with selfishness, feel guilty when they rest, stay silent when overwhelmed, secretly wonder why no one shows up for them the way that they show up for others. Because they were taught to believe, if I'm useful, I'm lovable. You are worthy when you rest, when you say no, when you ask for help, when you disappoint someone, and don't apologize for existing. You don't have to manage everyone's experience. You don't have to anticipate everyone else's needs. You don't have to earn your right to exhale. Rule number 6, the switcher. I'm going to speculate that a lot of us are this. Not everyone fits neatly into one role. So some of us switched. You were the hero at school, the lost child at home, the mascot at church, the scapegoat with dad, the caretaker with mom, the shapeshifter at every family gathering, scanning the room before we even walked in, asking ourselves silently, who do I need to be right now? And so we became that. We didn't settle into just one identity. We became emotional chameleons. Because in chaotic or emotionally unsafe environments, adaptation was our only constant. We scanned for danger, anticipated tone shifts, read micro expressions like survival manuals. The cost? We never learned how to just be without the script, without the role, without the audience. It's not a flaw. It's a trauma response, a nervous system wired to survive whatever room you walked into. As adults, switchers often say things like, I don't know who I am unless someone tells me who I am. I feel like a different person around different people. I mirror everyone else, but I don't really know how I actually think or feel. They are high functioning, likable, accommodating, but underneath, there is confusion, a quiet ache for something solid and real. They've been everything to everyone, but never fully themselves. Healing for the switcher begins with one powerful act: consistency. For others, for yourself, are not unstable. You were adaptive. You weren't fake. You were surviving. But now, you don't have to keep shifting to stay safe. You're safe now. You get to show up as one whole, integrated version of you. So what happens when you grow up, but never get to outgrow the role? You become an adult with a child's blueprint, wired for survival and not connection. The hero becomes the high-functioning shell, always busy, always tired, haunted by the fear of not doing enough. The scapegoat becomes the outsider, expecting betrayal, preemptively sabotaging any intimacy. The lost child feels invisible in their own life, floating through jobs, relationships, days. The mascot keeps all the jokes coming because silence feels like absolutely drowning. The caretaker gives until there's nothing left, then gives some more. The switcher never lands anywhere fully, shifting, adapting, unsure of who they truly are. Did you know the ACEs study revealed that emotional neglect in childhood dramatically increased the risk of adult challenges like addiction, depression, autoimmune issues? This isn't just psychological, it's physiological. Because trauma isn't just a memory, it's a body state. You're not broken, you're responding. In the world, they don't see the role, they see the symptoms, the anxiety, the numbing, perfectionism, avoidance. But under all that, a brilliant nervous system is just still trying to protect you. You were never the role, not the fixer, the ghost, not the clown, the good girl. You were the canary, the one who felt the shift in the air before anyone else, the one whose body refused to lie. You didn't fail to cope, you refused to numb. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. Now, the question isn't, how do I fix myself? It's, how do I return to who I was before the role? Take that role, and I say, burn it down to the fucking ground.